Episode 7. Apologizes to Hwa-jin for what happened to Gun, but it becomes clear that his remorse is very much fake. Later, Gang-uk checks on Hwa-jin and wonders how he's processing the encounter with Ki-joo. They then attend an ERPB meeting where the team discuss a potential case. Now, parent named Mr. Lee arrives seeking Gang-suk's help. He explains that his son Lee Jun is missing after becoming addicted to online gambling games. Mr. Lee reveals that Ja-yoon spent money on a gaming app, forcing his family to repay an $85 million debt. Despite putting his parents through that ordeal, Jaein fell into debt again after returning to the game. Upset, Mr. Lee destroyed Jaein's phone. But John borrowed a spare device from his friend Hyung Bin and resumed gambling. After accumulating even more debt, he disappeared, leaving his family unable to contact him. Now, the ERPB sends Gwanda undercover to Nakwon High School. There, he meets Young Bin and learns more about the online games. AI quickly notices that a large number of students at a school are addicted to gambling through the app. Now, after hearing Gwanda's report, Gang-suk vows to seek help from government agencies to punish those promoting gambling and betting games to minors. Ha-jin instructs Gwanda to infiltrate Song-bin's group by playing the games himself. As Song-bin invites Gwai to sign up using his referral code, and at first he's pretty excited after winning several games. However, he soon develops an addiction and starts losing large amounts of money. Now the following day, Gwai tells Hyung Bin about his losses. Since Hyung Bin works with loan sharks, he offers Gwanda money to continue gambling, while immediately deducting advanced interest from the loan. Later, Gwai explains the arrangement to Tawin and Hanam. He reveals that because of the compound interest, a 1 million loan could ultimately cost him nearly 45 million. Shortly afterwards, Hanam receives a call from the loan sharks demanding repayment. She refuses and tells them to do whatever they want with Gwanda. And the next day, Gwai waits for the loan sharks while Hanam keeps watch outside the school. Nervous, he asks her to stay nearby. However, Hanam winds up distracted by some snacks and leaves her car for a moment. During that time, the loan sharks abduct Gwai along with several other students who owe them money. They confiscate their phones, but Gwai manages to throw his own device out of the vehicle before he's caught. The loan sharks force the students to steal from shops and rob people to repay their debts. Nazin and Hanam review CCTV footage. Gang-suk uses his connections to identify the vehicle involved. At that night, the loan sharks take Gwanda to their hideout. There, he discovers several high school students, including John, working for the gang by sending spam messages to potential victims. All attempts to send a message to the ERPB through one of the devices. Behan stops him and explains that they are constantly being monitored. When the gang members notice the boys talking, they beat Jae-yoon and force everyone back to work. Trying to protect Jaein, Gwai offers to help repair the gang server. Impressed by his technical skills, the criminals take him upstairs to meet their boss, who orders him to set up a proxy server. And meanwhile, Jaein collapses after being forced to work non-stop while enduring repeated beatings from the gang. Elsewhere, Hanneman brings Young Bin to ERPB headquarters. And while examining the gambling website, she notices hidden Morse code messages that Gwanda has embedded into the system. After decoding said message, Hanam and Hwa-jin track the location and raid the hideout. The two former soldiers quickly overpower the gang members and Hanam is relieved to find Gwanda safe. While Hanam stays behind with the students, Hwa-jin heads to the main office to arrest the loan sharks and their boss. Now, when the gang leader attempts to escape, Hwa-jin chases him down and brutally beats him for destroying the lives of students and their families through a gambling addiction. The loan sharks are arrested, and June is taken to the hospital. Hanam apologizes to Gwanda and promises to keep a closer eye on him in the future. Later, John's father thanks Gang-suk for his help. Hwa-jin also reveals to Exae-yoon that Seung Bin had been working with the criminals. He counsels both boys and explains that a gambling addiction has hurt their parents as much as themselves. Ha-jin encourages the boys to work hard and repay the money their families lost because of gambling. He puts him to work scrubbing dishes while Hanam notices that Gwanda still has not fully overcome his own addiction. Concerned, she brings Gwanda to Hu-jin for counseling as well. A later gang encounters his political rival Hwang Jit, whose popularity is declining. Jit accuses Gang Suk of using his late daughter to advance his political career. A Ganguk responds by suggesting that Jit should be more concerned about members of his own party, discussing his position in the upcoming presidential election. Shocked by the revelation, Jit seeks out Gwa in an attempt to bring Ganguk down. The episode then ends with Jit meeting Gwa to discuss how they can use Gun's death against Gang Suk. So we knew that the political opponent, whose name we finally know as Kite, was not going to rest easy. Instead of doing something to benefit the people of the country like Gang Suk, he wants to destroy what Ganguk has created. Talk about jealousy. I'm sure he'll be getting intel on Gang Suk's personal life, and we may soon learn what happened after leading to Gon's death. Now, on the other hand, I'm noticing that Ham is growing attached to Gwanda, and Hajin can now see it too. Despite denying her feelings for it, I'm hopeful for the two to end up together because they exude the hyper-girlfriend calm boyfriend energy we see on social media. In terms of the case itself, this one does a pretty good job of encapsulating just how damaging gambling can be. Unlike other addictions like alcohol or drugs where you actually end up with a personal reason for stopping, i.e. physical or mental symptoms like being sick or the shakes, with gambling there is no stop. As someone whose uncle was addicted to gambling and almost destroyed his entire family, I've actually seen this play out firsthand and know how nasty it can be. It's also incredibly difficult to shake a gambling addiction as well. And while I won't go into too much of that here, what I will say is that Teach You a Lesson does a pretty good job of showing how you probably need counseling and stuff even after stopping to gamble. But in terms of the show itself, Teach You a Lesson continues to deliver decent drama, and it looks like the episodes ahead could be just as intriguing. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel. Your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video. Episode 8 of Teacher a Lesson starts with news reports claiming that the ERPB is conducting blood and urine tests at schools across the country to check for student drug use. Ah tells Hajin and Hanem about SUNY High School, one of the most prestigious prep schools in the country. He notes that many SNU medical students come from there. So, Gang Suk asked the ERPB to investigate, while Gwanda explains that many of the students have controlling and overly demanding parents. Now, the ERPB monitors a qualifier examination where a student named Young Min begins raising concerns. He suffers a nosebleed during the test and is taken to the medical room. However, his mother wakes him up and gives him a tablet, forcing him to finish the exam. Now, after the test, the ERPB asks the students to remain behind for drug screening. Hyung Min informs his mother, who immediately contacts other parents, and complains that a bureau is wasting the students' time when they should be attending private tutoring sessions. Mwajin refuses to let the students leave and warns that anyone who refuses testing will face penalties. He also orders the parents to ensure their children return the following day. And meanwhile, Jit meets Gor in prison and discusses working together to bring down Ganguk and Hwajin. Hanem and Gae accompany Hwajin to the hospital where the Sun students submit urine samples. Hyung Min's mother becomes disappointed after learning that her son received a B grade on the examination. Although Hyung Min apologizes, his mother blames him for failing to take his medication on time. She accuses him of wasting years of effort, leaving him overwhelmed with guilt. A flashback shows Hyung Min's mother consulting a medical school advisor and learning that her son is falling behind other students his age. Determined to secure his future, she pressures the family into moving to Gangnam and tells her husband that Hong Min must attend SNU. She closely monitors his studies, hires tutors, and becomes involved with other ambitious parents. She even prevents Hyung Min from sleeping or eating too much because she fears it will affect his performance. Despite all her efforts, Hyung Min continues to struggle academically. Eventually, Hyung Min's mother speaks with Dowi's mother, who recommends pills and improve concentration. After seeing Hyunmin's grades improve, she asks for stronger medication and eventually begins purchasing drugs online. As Hung's results continue improving, his mother becomes increasingly pleased, failing to notice how exhausted and emotionally drained he's become. Now, back in the present, Hujin informs the parents that the pills are ADHD medication, which is actually illegal in South Korea without proper authorization. He explains that the parents have not only supplied illegal drugs to their children, but have also violated the Narcotics Act. A doctor then reveals that Hung's test results are alarming. At home, Young Min-min's mother keeps him isolated and pressures him to continue preparing for the CSAT. Desperate, Young Min asks for more pills to calm his nerves. As Young Min attempts to take more medication, Hanin breaks into the apartment and stops him. Hajin confronts Hyman's mother and accuses her of supplying illegal narcotics to her son. Although she claims she never understood the dangers of the drugs, Hajin argues that she ignored all the warning signs. He tells her that she would rather destroy her son than accept academic failure. At the ERPB places Hyman Min's mother under house arrest while Humnen is admitted to the hospital. Now Home forces Hyman Min's mother to follow the same exhausting routine she imposed on her son. He controls her sleep schedule and meals, forcing her to experience the same pressure she put on Hyman Min for years now. Amen struggles through severe withdrawal symptoms at the hospital. While this is going on, Awande tells him to stay strong and push through the pain. Amen admits that he spent years preparing for a future chosen by his mother and often thought about ending his life. He also reveals that appeals were the only thing that made him feel capable of continuing. Awanda encourages him to stop feeling guilty about disappointing his mother. When Shaman admits that he no longer knows what he wants for himself, Gwanda takes him to the hospital library and encourages him to explore books that genuinely interest him. Elsewhere, Hung's mother begs Hua Jin for mercy, but he refuses to sympathize with her. He argues that Hung sacrificed his own happiness to fulfill her ambitions. Hua Jin eventually takes her to the hospital to see her son, and even then, her first question is whether he's still preparing for the CSAT. Wai Min finally tells his mother that he does not want to attend medical school. When she urges him to continue preparing for the exam, Young Min refuses to say he needs to focus on recovery. He asks his mother to stop worrying about his future and start focusing on her own dreams instead. A later gang publicly discusses the misuse of ADHD medication and other narcotics by students attempting to improve their academic performance. He announces that the ERPB will begin testing students before major examinations to prevent further abuse. Now, at the same time, Twajin examines the confiscated drugs and notices something familiar with Guardian's diary. Elsewhere, one of Guild's associates complains that ERPB is disrupting their drug business. The episode then ends with Gul telling Jeet that he wants to return to school now that he's being released from prison. This episode was highly infuriating, and a saying that not all human beings deserve to be parents could not have been any truer. Anand's mother is a perfect example of why parents need to bring new life into the world only if they are willing to see them as individuals and not just as an extension of themselves. Aeon Jean is putting so much pressure on her son and pushing her dreams and agendas on the child. While it's obviously good to have aspirations and inspire your children, coming at this from an angle as a parent myself, but she fails to recognize the immense pressure her son is under. There's a fine balance between pushing your child and letting them discover things for themselves, especially around exam season and the issues that come with kids experiencing heightened emotions and stress around this time because they're also getting it from school as well from their teachers. A Yamin does not have any dreams of his own because he's felt suppressed for years, living like his mother's robot. I love how this episode ends with Yemin's mother still not understanding what she did is wrong. Because sometimes parents do fail to see where they're wrong because they think they're entitled to their children's obedience. As the old saying goes, respect is earned, not demanded. Now, while this case was highly emotional, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what happens now that Gua is released from prison. He clearly has some involvement in the drug scene, and the ERPB is already making things difficult for his business. So much so that he will have to drop his nice guy facade act sooner rather than later. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel. Your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next.